Board games cost money. Unless your game is literally a deck of cards, all board games require multiple factories, all producing different parts of a game: the dice, the board, the tokens, the rulebook, the signed sexy picture of Will Wheaton that comes with every board game purchase. The costs are pretty damn high, even before the current Kickstarter-led escalation in how fancy board game bits are expected to be. Just look at these fancy, horribly expensive bits. Quick bit of admin, turns out people bloody love hot gluing a crap load of gems to some chess pieces. We could have made this list solely about stupidly expensive chess sets, but that would not be fun. So we've got 15 different games, the most expensive version of each one. This isn't a collection starter because you shouldn't buy these unless you're insanely minted and don't know what to spend it on, in which case give it to us instead. I'm Adam from No Rolls Barred, and these are the 15 most expensive board games in the world. Number 15, Catan 3D. How much do you love Settlers of Catan? Enough to buy a fucking pirate's chest full of it? For the low price of way too much money to spend on Catan, you can own the kind of booty chest that Captain Flint would murder his crew over. Made for the 10th anniversary of the game back in 2005. Inside are 3D printed models of the terrain tiles, making the island of Catan pop off the table. Little sculpted roads, cities, knights. Only 5,000 copies were ever made, and mint condition ones will set you back upwards of $1,500. Number 14, Kingdom Death Monster. How to describe Kingdom Death Monster? It's kind of a mix between Bloodborne and Brazzers. It's an erotic-tinged, grotesque horror co-op game about surviving a nightmare world populated by, well, monsters. It's got hundreds of cards, unbelievably excessive minis. The minimum you can spend on a core copy of the game, which still looks like the monolith from 2001, is somewhere around $300, but the maximum pledge on Kickstarter, all the expansions, all the miniatures, and all the kind of weird, sexy pin-up stuff, that'll set you back $2,500, not including shipping. Number 13.5, Louis Vuitton Jenga. Look, yes, this is cheating, but we wrote this list, and then like the day before we uploaded it, we discovered that 2 years ago, Louis Vuitton did their own branded Jenga in plexiglass, so it doesn't play as well, and oh, it's dreadful, and it'll cost you $3,000, so we wanted to include it. Number 13, War of the Ring Collector's Edition. War of the Ring is an epically sized and critically adored game for two players pitting the forces of good against the forces of evil in Tolkien's Middle-earth. The normal game comes with plenty of plastic and costs around 70 quid. 10 years ago, the publishers released a collector's edition that comes in a ginormous wooden book with hundreds of painted minis, a bigger map, and oh yeah, it comes in a ginormous wooden book. Only 2,000 were ever made. It will never be reprinted, and even buying a used copy will cost you $3,500. It is literally precious. I'm not going to do the voice. You know, precious. Number 12, Small World Designer Edition. Small World is an area control game where fantasy races fight for territory. People mostly like it. Enough for the publishers to bring out a limited run of designer editions that take the small in Small World and kick it to death. Coming in a felt-lined box, there's hundreds of wooden tiles, plastic bases to hold those tiles, metal coins, oh, the height of gaming luxury, love me some metal money, artwork, and all sorts of other little bits and bobs. After its one-time only print run, an unopened copy of this is currently on eBay for an entirely not small $4,600. Number 11, Cluedo. Jeffrey Parker is a company that sells luxury versions of classic games, and I'm not gonna lie, I would very much like one of their backgammon sets. Look how bloody lovely these are. But today we're talking about their luxury Cluedo. There's a few fancy versions of Cluedo out there, but this is the most costly. All the rooms and tiles are hand cut and stitched from leather. Room names are embossed in silver, and the weapons and the kind of weird ghostly looking heads of the playing pieces are made from pewter. This will murder your bank balance at a huge $6,200. We're not even in the top 10. Number 10, Mecca. Well, Sotheby's.com sure knows how to make you feel poor. There's a whole bunch of antique games that have gone under the hammer for humbling amounts of money. Oh look, a cup and ball that Prince Albert once sneezed on. Money please. Searching on the site, I found this, an early 19th century Dutch game called Mecca. It's printed on linen and from all accounts seems to be the only copy of the game in existence, which is a kind of snakes and ladders style dice race to the promised land with all the sights and challenges you'll find printed on the spiral journey to the center of the board. Its rarity saw it be sold to a private bidder for over $12,000. Number 9, Akaseido Go Set. Go is one of the oldest functional games in the world, but the most expensive sets aren't costly because of their age. If you want a set from a company called Akaseido, that'll cost a huge amount of money because of the rare materials used. Go's an abstract area control game with a minimalist design, and with the right pieces, it looks proper dignified, which combined with its history is why there's a high-end market for tables crafted from hundreds of years old Kaya wood that's famed for its brightness and hardness. Bowls for the stones are made from mulberry, and white stones forged from rare clams that can only be found in the south of Japan. Go is a game with a huge cultural sense of gravity and occasion, which is why some people will pay over $14,000 for a full Akaseido set. Number 8, Outrage Deluxe Edition. Outrage! Is a board game from the 90s about players rolling and moving around a board to try and steal the crown jewels. Yes, thoroughly monocle-popping behaviour that. Of course, a game about precious jewels is pretty much a slam dunk for a company to make a deluxe version to attract cash-saturated loonies. The deluxe version of Outrage comes on a box of solid mahogany with gold leaf-edged cards and replicas of the crown jewels in 18-karat gold studded with diamonds, sapphires, rubies and emeralds with an outrageous price tag of nearly $19,000. Number 7, Smart Scrabble. There's a Scrabble set made by Swarovski to commemorate the 60th, aka the diamond anniversary of the ever-present word game. That has 30,000 crystals embedded into it and is valued at $20,000. Somehow, there's a more expensive Scrabble board out there. The Smart Scrabble board, commissioned by Mind Sports for tournament play. It utilizes radio frequency ID technology to read pieces placed on the board instantly, essentially being able to broadcast important games in real time over the internet. Plus it lights up. Fancy Scrabble. That cost Mind Sports over $30,000. No one drop it for God's sake. Number 6, The Landlord's Game. As Luke so eloquently told us in his Actually Good video, the game we know today as Monopoly originated from, aka was nicked from, Elizabeth Maggie's Landlord's Game, published in the early 1900s. A similar game in form, but with a staunchly anti-landlord, anti-monopolist message built in, so it would probably annoy her that a first edition copy of her game lampooning income equality is valued at auction for $50,000. Probably. Sorry, Liz. Number 5, Monopoly Atlantic City Edition. Alright, so I did say that we're only going to have one of each game, and look, yes, but hear me out. The Atlantic City Edition of Monopoly, as it's known inside the industry, isn't the regular Monopoly that we've come to know and loathe. It's the prototype run that, air quotes, inventor of Monopoly, Charles Darrow, handmade himself in the early 1930s, and some of those boards were actually constructed in a circle. Only 5,000 of Charles Darrow's boards were ever made before it was bought by Parker Brothers, and the rarity and cultural significance of this paper circle meant that it sold at auction for $146,500. Sorry, Liz. Number 4, 9 Men's Morris. Back to Sotheby's we go for another eye-watering packet of money spent on an ancient game. This time, it's actually a bargain because it's 3 games in 1. Crafted in the early 1600s out of ebony, amber and silver, it's a game set. On one side is 9 Men's Morris, a 2-player abstract game that dates back to Roman times. On the other side, chess, and on the inside, backgammon. I will admit it's pretty damn beautiful, and it comes with carved messages inscribed on it, one of which translates from German into "ill-gotten gains makes one poor." But considering this set sold for $960,000, I'm pretty sure buying this game made me poor. Number 3, Solid Gold Monopoly. Yes, another Monopoly board, but this is an official Monopoly board, so it counts as a different game. Shut up. Fun fact, Jeffrey Parker makes a Monopoly set out of alligator skin for $700,000, which sure is an amount of money you can spend on an ugly version of a bad game, but luxury designer Sydney Mobile says to that, "Hold my 60-year-old Macallan," crafting a Monopoly board set made of 18-karat gold, which was briefly displayed at the Museum of American Finance. It also contains dice with diamonds in the pips and properties, set with a total of 165 gemstones, and that last sentence contains so much opulent excess it would bring Elizabeth Maggie back to life just to kill her again. It's an art piece and not for sale, but it has been valued at about $2 million. Number 2, the Pearl Royale chess set. There are a few lists of expensive games online, and most of them name the most expensive game as the Duel Royale chess set, a commission valued at between $7 and $9 million, but that set was never actually completed. What was completed, however, by jewelry artist Colin Byrne was the Pearl Royale chess set, each piece carved out of 18-karat white gold, containing 513 carats of fine white diamonds and sapphires on a board of crystal embossed with more gold. Unlike Monopoly, you can actually buy this one, provided you can stump up $4 million dues. You could buy some houses for that, like where people live. It's bleak, innit? And number 1, the Charles Hollander Backgammon Set. Great googly moogly, the most expensive board game in the world. And I don't know about you guys, but like, that's ugly, isn't it? Am I mad? This twinkly, gaudy looking wallet botherer was designed for the Charles Hollander collection, with the board containing over 60,000 black, white and yellow diamonds, crafted out of over 6 kilograms of gold with silver engravings. Like, how'd you... When would... Even a Bond villain wouldn't play with this set. The set took 10,000 hours to make and is valued at $5 million. I own a backgammon set. It cost me £15. And they play the same. And that's our list. What's the most expensive board game you own? Mine's my lovely Crokinole board. Let us know below in the comments, and like and share this video around, and why not subscribe to No Rolls Barred for more silly board game content? Get on board.